Bonjour, good morning. I know that the protocol for the COVID-19, but may you allow me to take off this mask, otherwise I can't speak. Sorry for this. So indeed, Your Excellency, Honorable Mr. Eddie Bossazon, Vice President of the Republic of Mauritius, Your Excellency, Mr. Kawaguchi Shuichiro, Ambassador of Japan to Mauritius, Her Excellency, Madam Christine Umtoni, UN Resident Coordinator and UNDP Representative of the UNDP Office for Mauritius and Seychelles, Honorable Mr. Stefan Toussaint, Minister of Youth and Sport Empowerment, Member of the Parliament, Representative of associations and NGOs, Member of the Press, ladies and gentlemen, it is a pleasure to welcome you today for the official launch of the first call for proposal by the MOL Charitable Trust. Our call for proposal has been published today in the press as well, and all NGOs with a project that matches the objectives of the trust has been invited to apply. Without further ado, I will move on to the presentation of MOL Charitable Trust, which help you to better understand our mission. So we will show you a small presentation on the screen. The MOL Charitable Trust is an initiative of Mitsui Osuke Lines Limited, MOL, a multimodal transport company in Japan. Our mission is to support vulnerable communities in Mauritius, assist projects aimed at restoring, conserving, and safeguarding nature in Mauritius. It will be managed by 7 enforcers, 4 local based in Mauritius, with approximately funding of 50 million yen annually for the next 5 to 6 years. So you may wonder what motivated MOL to launch a charitable trust in Mauritius, and how exactly did the charitable trust come about? Our work started in 2020 post-Wakashia, which was a really unfortunate incident, and we are very sorry for this, where the teams of experts were sent to Mauritius to support communities and help restoration. In September 2020, MOL decided to allocate in total 800 million yen. It's about approximately 320 million Mauritius rupee to support local community and restoration in a sustainable manner. October 2020, the MOL established a branch in Mauritius, the MOL Mauritius Limited. In June 2021, this year, the MOL Charitable Trust is formally established in Mauritius with the capacity of in total 300 million yen. This is approximately 120 million Mauritius rupee. We plan to fund annually 50 million yen, approximately 20 million Mauritius rupee for 5 to 6 years. Furthermore, MOL will launch a foundation for Mauritius in Japan with the capacity of 500 million yen. This is about 200 million Mauritius rupee around this November 2021. This will also contribute to Mauritius as well. For the sake of transparency and fairness, the trust will be, moving to the next slide, maybe before, for the sake of transparency and fairness, the trust will be managed with 7 enforcers, including 4 local enforcers based in Mauritius, which I have told you already. The 3 of the 4 enforcers, local enforcers, are Mauritians who are approached because they have been involved in this social work for many years. And we are moving to the mission of the, again, sorry, coming back to one page more, sorry. The mission of MOL Charitable Trust in Mauritius is composed of the 10 priority goals. Each of these objectives responds to the one of the SDGs established by the United Nations. So we have 10 objectives here. The first one is conservation and development of mangrove forests. Second, conservation and development of coral reefs. Third, conservation of wild, migratory and rare birds. Number 4, preservation and restoration of cultural property. Number 5, economic development of the fisheries and tourism industries. 6, awareness and sensitization of ecology, ecotourism, and environment protection. 7th, empowerment of communities through social welfare and education. Number 8, research and development related to renewable energy. 9th, humanitarian assistance post-disaster events. And 10th, related infrastructure development to support any of above actions. These are our 10 core objectives which we are looking for any project which can be coping for any of these 10 objectives. And last but not least, let me introduce again our Mauritian enforcers, Mr. Mark Daly, Dr. Jimmy Hammond, and Mr. Diamond Elia. Mark is the executive chairman of Sierra Limited, a well-known local logistics company. He is founding trustee of the Lighthouse Primary and Secondary School and of the Good Shop, an environmental and social enterprise involved in giving a second life to out-of-the-shelf items. Jimmy is one of the directors of the International Slavery Museum and is also an independent and eminent researcher in history, heritage, language, and identity construction. Jimmy has also been an active social worker for several years. Diamond wears several hats, namely disaster and environmental risk management specialist. He has also been an active social worker for more than 30 years, also founding the president of the NGO called Appel, which runs a residential rehab center for the homeless people recovering from the addiction. I cannot thank of the three of you enough for having accepted to assist this trust. And ultimately, all the NGO will be supported. Now I hope that you have a better understanding of the trust. It has been more than a year since I was sent to Mauritius by MOL on a very special mission. As a company, MOL believes that it has a duty to have the most positive impact possible on the world around us. It is for this reason that MOL Charitable Trust was incorporated in Mauritius. I have already numerous times witnessed the incredible resilience and resourceful of the Mauritius people. I'm also impressed by the spirit of solidarity, the professionalism, and the drive of the people in the various NGOs we have already been dealing with. I have met some amazingly compassionate and caring people who know how to get results and get people livelihood back on the track. We are humbled to be given the opportunity to support the wonderful work already being done. Our support will be long-term, sustainable support to NGOs in the implementation of the selected project. Nous pouvons essayer et des autres, tant qu'ils nous capables. Nous avec les autres. I thank you for your attention, and let me hand over to my camarade, Mr. Damien Ella, for further explanation of the first call for the proposal.
So good morning, konnichiwa to all of you. It is an honor to address you this morning on behalf of the three Mauritian local enforcers of the MOL Charitable Trust, namely Mr. Mal Tare, Dr. Jimmy Hammond, and myself. The three of us have been involved at various levels in philanthropic and social work in Mauritius for a long time. When we saw the vision of MOL for the cause of Mauritius, we readily accepted to be part of this venture as local enforcers, as we saw the possibilities of helping the needy through the MOL Charitable Trust, through its mission and its purposes. We accepted even more wholeheartedly after 2020, a year like no other, and which was historically defined by various events which shook the world and our country. Indeed, 1 year ago, in the midst of a pandemic, an ecological and humanitarian disaster brought together the whole of Mauritius, young and old, from all walks of life, prompted by the solidarity, use their talents to lift up communities and neighbors, protect the environment while supporting local businesses. While being incredibly challenging, 2020 showed us the power of a rising generation of Mauritians ready to take on challenges in order to build a better normal for our beloved country. Out of the particular disaster also came the realization that our ecosystem is fragile and we have to protect it in order to protect each other. It also brought about MOL's promise to accompany our country along this road of sustainability and recovery. And this, as Goro-san mentioned before, the MOL Charitable Trust was incorporated in Mauritius with the aim of supporting vulnerable communities and assist projects aimed at restoring, conserving, and safeguarding our environment. Part of the structure of the MOL Charitable Trust includes having local enforcers whose mission is to help manage the trust and ensure that solid projects are supported in a sustainable and transparent manner. At the level of each village or community regrouping at our national level, NGOs of all shapes and sizes have a tremendous central importance, and it's vital that you succeed. And finding funds to support your project in a shrinking pot is an existential threat to NGO survival. I can tell you I have spent more than 2 months in Japan, and I can testify that rigor, discipline, fairness, and steadfastness are paramount values to Japanese. Our role as local enforcers will be to apply those same principles in the selection of project proposals, which will receive funding up to 1 million from local NGOs to be implemented in a time period of 12 months, and which is going to receive not only funding support, but also other support from the MOL Charitable Trust. This constant challenge of NGOs struggling to find funding for their project is really very real, but they tell only a small part of the story. Most of the story of the NGOs is about kindness, compassion, and big and small acts of generosity, which form the glue of our society. Together with other enforcers and the MOL Charitable Trust team, we would like to thank you all in this room for what you do, especially the NGOs. We all in this country owe you a great deal for your service. I hope that this call for proposal will benefit your NGOs and will help you further your actions. So without taking much time, I'm going to go quickly on the call for proposal. So as you see today, we are going to launch, it has been launched today officially, the call for proposal. We are being given 3 weeks, so the call for proposal will be open until 27th of September. So all applicants should be either non-government organizations or private company limited by guarantee, registered under the associations, registrar of association or registrar of companies in Mauritius as a non-profit organization. The applicant which should be a non-profit organization, should have no shareholder with receiving any profit from that. So as a general guideline, it will be for the call for proposal will fund projects up to a maximum of 1 million per project. And each NGOs will be allowed only one project for this call for proposal. And its duration will be 12 months. And it should be aligned with the purpose of the trust, which has been shown earlier by Goresa. So we have got the 10 purposes. And also the project of proposal will have an independent evaluation body. And the independent evaluation entity will take all your projects as a fairness and give you markings for every criteria that you are going to satisfy for this project, for this call for proposal. So I really encourage you to go through the guidelines before you put up your proposals, your applications. And also, just to make things easier with the COVID protocol and so on, so it's going to be available online. You have got a link, you see at section 11. You just click on the link, you go on an online platform. All the information will be provided there. It's not very complicated for you to fill in the form. You provide all the information and submit it by before the end of 27th of September. And let me just inform you that any incorrect or inadequate information may enlist into the disqualification of the NGO. So make sure you take time to read through, understand what you have to submit, and you submit all this information. And also, part of the evaluation process will require that the evaluation entity will contact you and require you more information to be provided. For example, documents or names or contact details, and also verification of some of the actions or some of the documents that you have to provide at a later stage. So what we probably will do is we are going to shortlist from the whole of the application we are going to receive, which we're going to shortlist a number of projects, and then we'll ask those who have been shortlisted to submit those documents and more information so that we can come to a decision and come to a conclusion for selection of prospectus projects. So that's all. I hope it's going to help you and especially all the NGOs. So I wish you all the best and in this project call for proposal. As I mentioned, this is the first one. It's not going to be the last. So hopefully we see you if you ever make it. Thank you so much.
I'm very honored to be here for the first call of proposal of Charitable Trust. I think this is a show of sincere commitment of MOL to the betterment of local communities. Since Wakashio incidents, there are several projects have been formulated by both private sector, namely MOL and the government of Japan. And I would like to everyone to understand this is really our sincere attempt to fulfill our responsibilities and obligations. I was appointed as ambassador about 11 months ago. When I was appointed, I felt very sorry and I was worried and I'm scared to come here, thinking of the feelings of the people. But my expectation was completely wrong. When I was here, I was very warmly welcomed. And I visited here quite many times. And I felt like this, stronger and stronger. And I again recommitted myself. I have to do something to make sure that people living will be better than ever. And I think MOL's commitment is also same as us. And when I came here, I was very lucky to meet Mr. Yamashita. He's real friend for betterment of this country. And I think bilateral relationship is founded by the people-to-people relationship. And my most important task here is to promote bilateral relationship through betterment of the understanding of the people. That is why I came here and I grace this project. And I'm also very grateful that so many dignitaries are here. And again, I'd like to say thank you very much.
Good morning again. Thank you for inviting the United Nations to the launch of this call to support the recovery of Burundi following the Wakasho oil spill and to promote the development of the coastal communities here but also across Mauritius. I thank the government of Mauritius for the good collaboration during the crisis and after, and also the government of Japan for the good work and collaboration. But also we really witnessed something very important during the crisis, especially the role of the communities as the first responders to the crisis. And I think this gesture or this support is a good sign to show that empowering the communities who are the first responders in the first case is a good foundation for any development. I can tell you that the Wakasho oil spill crisis and how it was managed has been cited as a good example of collaboration between various partners, and we are happy that the UN was able to be associated or supported in some ways this coordination of action. In many countries, when a crisis happens, it becomes worse because the partners are not coordinated and everybody is doing their own things. So the efforts to coordinate from the government, from the communities, the ministers, the members of parliament, the community leaders, the ambassadors, everybody, it proved to be a working solution to coordinate well. So I take this opportunity to simply tell you that the United Nations in Mauritius is comprised of about 20 agencies actually, supporting in different areas, and that's why for my title, I'm the UN Resident Coordinator. I don't head any one particular agency, but I coordinate all of them. So just to make it clear. And at that time and up to now, we provided technical assistance on a broad range of issues, including public health, social development, environmental preservation, disaster risk reduction, even areas in atomic solutions. For example, you will see that after Wakasho, there's one agency that is going to provide toxicology reviews. It means that the next time we have an oil spill, we don't have to take our samples anywhere. The equipment are here to test, but we also deal with other issues, including crime control, support to displaced people, and a lot of other things as they relate to the Sustainable Development Goals. So all these skills were indeed directly used in the response to the Wakasho. We have been working with Japan on the Wakasho response from day one, when the government declared a state of environmental emergency, and when the government called for solidarity in dealing with the oil spill. So it is this call for solidarity that guided us, all partners who got involved in this. With the diplomatic call, we promptly shared responsibilities. So the UN provided expertise in managing complex oil spills and coordinating crisis response. Japan and France rapidly deployed oil spill control equipment and professionals as well as scientists to work with the Mauritian and Indian teams already present. They were later joined by UK teams. You remember that on the rooftop of the Blue Bay Fishery Office, we set up a field office where we welcomed support from UN, Japan, British, French, technical assistance, until the emergency was declared over. So the UN then worked with government, non-governmental organizations, development partners, private sector, to continuously assess the situation, analyze options, and facilitate the coordination of the response or even of the monitoring of the environment. We supported specialized teams in coordinating crisis meetings, promoted the involvement of relevant stakeholders in the needs assessment and in decision making. We provided inputs on crisis communication and contributed with Japan and UK to set up a system to monitor the disaster's impact over time. Our UN development program and Organization for Migration supported the daily environmental and social impact assessment, and the World Health Organization backed government in surveilling the oil spills public health impact, while our Office for Drug and Crime offered some forensic investigation and some legal support in the beginning. So by the end of the immediate recovery, we closed the field office, but continued to work with response teams to assess the situation and review progress in disseminating the remains of the Wakasho and to help strengthen the national system of disaster response and preparedness. We are still doing so to date, and the oil spill specialists we brought last year will be back as soon as the borders fully open to help the Ministry of Environment update its oil spill contingency plan. The UN also set up a fund to support Mauritius to recover from the oil spill. With this, we are planning to support also NGOs and communities to promote sustainable fishing practice in Trodos. We are also helping Mauritius revise emergency preparedness and response plans. We are planning to update maritime surveillance mechanisms and tools, and we will strengthen the poison center to include toxicology services in emergency situations. We are strengthening the planning and operational capacities of the National Disaster Risk Management Centers. So with this, we really want to pledge continued collaboration, and we see this initiative from support from Japan, working together with the local communities as complementary to everything that we are all doing, and also again putting people first and putting the strength in supporting the communities. We look forward to working with Japan in promoting a better recovery and in helping accelerate the development of coastal communities, including through activities in environmental restoration, promoting of sustainable livelihood, support to maritime security, and in disaster risk management response and management in general. We wish you a very successful event as you launch these calls for proposals, and we stay close by to work together as we have always worked together. I want to thank you very much for your kind attention.
It is a great pleasure to be here for the official launching of MOL Charitable Trust first call for project aimed at local associations and NGOs as part of its charitable and environmental mission in Mauritius. I am especially pleased to do so as supporting charities is at the heart of my office, and the MOL Charitable Trust has been established by Mitsui USK Alliance Limited to address the impacts of the oil spill from the bulk carrier of MV Wakasho. MOL has so far been working to restore the natural environment of Mauritius and contribute to local communities with the assistance of experts and organizations specialized in the restoration and protection of the environment. It is comforting to learn that the Trust will incorporate not only projects related to the restoration of the natural environment, but also provide support to local communities in line with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Namely, in the following areas: no poverty, quality education, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth, sustainable cities and communities, life below water, and life on land. Ladies and gentlemen, I can never be enough tribute to charitable organizations, volunteers, and people who cares for others. They are not doing this because it looks good. They do it because charity is not an optional extra in society. I believe that above anything else, charity nurtures, repair, build, and sustain our society. Without the work that charities do, society would be an empty shell. Charities exist because those who work and volunteer for them each feel passionately in its importance, and they are right to do so. But as the challenges of the future begin to bear down on us, I believe that this big shift must begin to happen. The sector must be open to collaborate, to share expertise and resources, to focus less on individual interests and more on the benefits that working together will bring. We would certainly concur that good governance is fundamental not just to the success of each individual charity. However, public confidence is vital in the sector as a whole. My appeal to these NGOs who will submit projects is to concentrate more on empowering than assisting. Be guided by the famous quote: if you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. But if you teach a man to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. Your Excellency, Mr. Kawasaki, Japan has always expressed its willingness to cooperate in Mauritius in the economic and educational fields and in training and technology. I should like to express through you our gratitude to His Majesty the Emperor Naruhito, the Japanese government, for assistance to Mauritius following the oil spill caused by MV Wakasho. To conclude, I should like to thank Mr. Line for setting up this charitable trust and wish the prospective beneficiaries good luck in the realization of their project. Thank you.